Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. So thank you very much for subscribing. Now let's add a score to our test here, because this test has been answered 100% and it's been marked 100%. So all we need to see now is the actual score that the student has made here. So we can put the text right here. So let's design the text first, and then we can see about getting the actual correct number. So just here under test questions, let's put something there. So we're still in the mark test tab view, and let's find where it says test questions, which is right here, and total questions. Where is that? There we go. So right above that, this is a nav. Right above this, I just want to put a center tag like so, and then I want to put something like 0%, something like that. Maybe we can write the word score and say 0%. Now here I can put a style so that I can put a things like font size, and let's try 40 pixels. Maybe that will suffice, and let's refresh. So there is the score. I kind of like bigger numbers, so let's 50%. Score 0%. Let's go to the next one. Okay, we can say test score. Now here we can put some small tags here just to reduce, if I don't know if this will work at all. Let's try this. Doesn't seem to work. I wanted this to be very small and this one quite large. So let's try 60%, and then here let's do the same thing and do style, font size. Let's try 20 pixels. Let's see how that works. Or what we can do instead is to put a break tag right about here, like so. That will be test score, and then the percentage there. But why is there so much above this? Not cool, man, not cool. Let me remove this font size here for a second. Let's see what that does. Okay, so that moves things where I want. So instead, let me remove this whole style 60 pixels and add it here. I'll just put a span, put the number inside a span like so, move that here, and then put the style there. And let's refresh. Okay, something like this now. Test score 0%, but let's add an actual value, shall we? So we're going to do the same thing that we did here, get mark percentage. Let me copy that. And let's come here where we are getting the score. So I want this to only appear when, let's see, PHP and say if marked, right? So if this test has been marked, then we can confidently, let me copy that, display this. Otherwise not. Okay, now here marked percentage, we change this to score percentage, and let's put that very value right here. Without, we just leave the percent text there. So open, we're echoing this right here, score percentage, and then get score percentage. We're going to use exactly this, and get the same result. So let's go to function now and change the get mark, this one right here, function, to get score. So let's duplicate this, and the last one, let's change to score. So if we leave it as is, the score will be 100% because it's getting this very result. So there we go, 100%. But that's not what we want here. We want to say get mark, and then here it says if answer is greater than 0. So here what we're looking for is we want to increment only if the answer is equal to 1. That's the only change, really. So yeah, we don't even need that trim there though. So this is the score that the user got, 62.5%. Yeah, that's about it. So that's the score. Yeah, so let's see if we can adjust the score by let's set this back. Let's go to answered tests. Let's wait, where are the answers? Okay, everything was answered, but let's try and reduce the score. So these marks here, 1 is correct, 2 is false. So let's add more falses. Let's put a 2 there, and let's see how that responds, if the percentage will change accordingly. Okay, so now I got 50%. So it's working very, very well. Okay, so this can be styled to have a specific color, maybe a red color, to show that this is the score of the whole thing. Now if you want to leave less space here, you can always change the margins and stuff. So for example, we have font style 60 here. I can just say margin top and put a minus, maybe 20 pixels, just to move it slightly upward. Okay, that normally doesn't work for spans because a span is not really a display block. So let me change that to a div and it will work like a charm. So refresh, there we go. Okay, good. So far so good. The only thing remaining now is the auto mark. If you notice here, we also need to add teachers' comments on the marks, because if I click there are no more tests to mark. And if I click on marked now, you see that there's a test here that has been marked, but the information is not so good. Now the date here may be wrong or weird because we reset the submitted date sometime back. But then the answered, let's see, there's answered 100%. What we need here is a score. So let me look at this. Let's go to marked view. So I'm going to close these other views here. No, wait, before I do that, I want to copy this that gets the score percentage. So I'm going to copy that. And let me close all open files for now. Let me go to the views and look at the marked. So marked view, marked ink, that's the one I'm looking for. This is the one that contains the table. And here there is answered. So I just want to duplicate this. Wait, there's one empty one right here. So instead of answered, I'm going to put score like this. So let's come back here and refresh. Okay, so there's score there, that's good. And the score should be the percentage. So table data, this is the button, take this test. Okay. I see what's going on here. So I should duplicate this. Let me leave this one empty, the very last one, because that's the one that contains this button here, take this test. Instead, I'm going to create another table data like so, and then put that score. So in here, I'm going to say score percentage is equal to this. Although instead of setting it to a variable, because I know if things don't go well, it's going to be 0. So I'm just going to do this, put an equal sign, get score percentage, and then I just need the test ID and the user ID. So the user ID is the student that took the test. So we already know there is a student in here, so we can get their ID. There is a test name here, so which means the test ID is not far away either. So let me look at what I've got here. I want this one that has first name. So I'm just going to copy this whole part and do this. I'm just going to paste there. So it's test row user, and then instead of first name, we want the user ID. And then there's row test ID. So let's see here. Where is the test name? So test details test, right? So this is the one I need. Test row test details. Instead of test though, I want to get wait a second. Okay, right there. So let's replace this and I'll get test underscore ID like that. Okay, so that should solve the problem here for score. Yeah, there we go. There's a 50. All I need to do is add the word text % at the end. So there we go. So score 50%, very accurate. Submitted date is a problem, and then there's this marked by, which is just showing us the user ID. So where is this? Marked by here. Test row marked by. So instead of all this, we should get an actual username. So how do we get that? So I'm just going to see what test row contains. So copy this, and I just want to do PHP show test row, right there. Close that. And let's refresh. Okay, so the first one is right here. There's only one record, so it's not a problem. There's this user guy dude, and that's the student, right? So what am I looking for again? Marked by. So I'm looking for the teacher. So this is the class user. So that's the one who created the class. This is the user that created the test, right? And this is the user that let's see, user ID guy dude. Vibe Peters, that's the teacher. So as you can see, there's no information for the teacher here anywhere. So we have to extract it ourselves. Now, we could create a simple function somewhere that gets a user. That could work. Or we can use the user model. So here marked by, let me put some space here. So this is the user ID itself. So maybe let's do this. Let's see, user is equal to, well, let's just say let's put some PHP tags here. Let's just do this, PHP, and then close those PHP tags. So this one is for marked by, so lecturer is equal to, what do we do here? Let me just say user for as long as I'm not using this anywhere else, is equal to new user. And then now I can do user first, and then we're using the where clause user ID, and this is the user ID, so move it there like that. Okay, so the result of this is what we're going to echo. So I'm just going to say my underscore marker is equal to the person who marked. So if this is true, if my marker, then we're going to echo the name. So my marker, first name, let's concatenate a space and then duplicate this and put last name. Okay, quite the process to just get the name there, but this is how it is. Okay, good. And now let's refresh, and there we go. So Vibe Peters, student, submitted date. This will be correct normally, because once a student submits, it always puts the date, the correct one. It's just that we manipulated the table directly, so that's why we have this problem. But otherwise, everything else is good. Okay, now when we click view, we're supposed to create, it takes us to this single test view, which is incorrect, but we're going to see how to fix that real soon. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.